From the time people started coming to Muskoka to cottage, they've been changing the land use around them. From clearing building lots, taking down the trees, erecting boathouses and docks in the water, and changing the shoreline. At first there weren't that many cottages, under 400 in the early 1900s, growing exponentially to just over 8,000 in 1955 and 13,500 by 2012. The Muskoka Lakes Association has been there throughout this growth, looking after the interests of the shoreline residents. Cottage ownership increased in the post-war boom of the 50s and 60s, largely because of the increased personal mobility offered by car ownership and improved road access, so that the idea of owning a weekend refuge from the city was now within reach of the average family. And with that boom, the face of Muskoka began to change. Cottages began to flourish along the shoreline, along with the support services needed to support the seasonal population, and the resort industry would unfortunately experience a long and slow decline. Not surprisingly, resort properties were being sold to other interests and became a major source of conflict that the MLA has engaged in over the years. One of the first issues was at Roseneath in Milford Bay in the early 1980s, where a developer proposed 147 units for an expected population of 700 people, larger than Port Carling, and at densities comparable to urban centers. Sewage treatment alone would require a 50-acre tile bed. The MLA joined forces with others in challenging the township approval to the Ontario Municipal Board. And while the challenge was not successful, the MLA later opposed building permits and the developer eventually abandoned the project. Decades later, local residents purchased the land and converted it to a park. The MLA learned that vigilance about land use issues in Muskoka would be needed, not to help neighbors fight neighbors over differences of opinion, but to identify issues that have far-reaching ramifications for the environment of Muskoka, issues that set precedent such that it could happen again. One of these was Hannah's Landing, the former Glenwood Trailer Park in Port Carling. The owner proposed approximately 400 residential units outside the urban boundary of Port Carling and to change zoning from waterfront and rural to urban in an area of existing cottage development. Again, the development was the same size as the existing residential community in Port Carling. The MLA, along with others, objected to a boundary expansion, and while the Township of Muskoka Lakes eventually approved it, the size of the development was reduced, and protection for the shoreline and the abutting properties were included in the official plan amendment. To date, it has not been built, but the MLA continues to watch the file carefully. Everyone wants to come to Muskoka for a break from city life, to experience nature, breathe fresh air, swim, fish, see the stars, and hear the birds. The very reasons to come to Muskoka may be lost without someone like the MLA keeping watch and questioning what is in keeping with the intent and policies of the municipalities to protect the Muskoka environment. The Muskoka Lakes Association has not always been successful in our challenges of planning decisions, but we're certain that some bad developments were made better for engaging in the discussion.